and I'm just talking a slight bit now to hopefully hear myself on the stream and know that it's working. And if I hear that, then it should be good. Yes, it's working. So hello and welcome everyone. We will be playing Horizon Zero Dawn today. Okay, stream starting. And here is where we are. Inside Gaia. This may be interesting. Turn back on. What's this? Bookshelf. For a moment I thought that was not the kind of incubators, but you know, like an actual cradle. Oh. There's a room with a supply crate. So, oh. We didn't take the blaze. I guess our inventory is full again. Oh wait, can we... Is there ammo we need to craft? Yes. Yeah, we can take the blaze, good. But it's not enough blaze to get up to 60. Well, anyway. Switch to regular arrows again. And there is where we came in. Silence is still standing there. Lulz. Can we speak to him some more? Oh yeah, we still have the stream starting overlay on. Good point, Bones. Hello, Bones, by the way. Nice to see you again. So, hope this is better. I'll just try what Silence has to say.
Yes?
Oh, okay, it's just the same things.
I need to get going.
It's kind of funny that he's just standing there. I mean, he's a hologram, you know, like why would he keep the hologram running? And why would it be in a certain location? Why wouldn't he just be, you know, why wouldn't our focus just be showing him to us? That's I guess that's a bit of a game development, you know, like hack that you have the... Oh, he's just going to give you the silence treatment. Yeah. Oh, oh. Okay, yeah, I can accept that. So yeah, you know, usually in most game engines these days, especially if they're kind of RPG style, you have something built in for having NPCs. Oh. Yeah. So by the way, yesterday I figured out why I had problems jumping sideways to one of those things. It's because you don't push in the direction you go, and I accidentally did it right, because you swing to the direction, so you have to like push in the opposite direction and then let go, and then she will jump over. And somehow I always like accidentally pushed it back at some point, and then she would jump over. So I never really noticed that I hadn't figured out the controls correctly. So much about that. You can get to level 40 without knowing all the mechanics. Nope. But now she actually went. Okay. Okay, where's the next one? Or oh, I could drop down on this one, I guess. Okay. Yeah, so in like RPG-like games, or pretty much any game, you already have a mechanism where it's just have an NPC here, have them run an idle animation, and, you know, have it possible to talk to them. So pretty much every game engine these days has that already built in because it's such a common thing. Or, you know, like you build it because you need it. Like you're constantly talking to people. And so when you already have that built in, if you have like a hologram or like something that is internal to you, like, you know, like, I don't know, there's a ghost following you or whatever that only you see, often they implement it just by, you know, spawning at certain points in the game a NPC that looks like a hologram that is a bit transparent or something. For example, you have that in Defiance as well. And the problem there is, you know, it's supposed to be, well, that little implant in your head is showing you a projection of it, so it can, you know, like communicate by using gestures, and you can see the facial expressions it uses, and but it's in your head, so it should travel with you when you turn your head or whatever. It should just be able to come along, because it's just, you know, projecting it on your retinas. And the problem is, since the mechanism used is actually for NPCs and just picks a location in the scenery, you still get mission objectives saying, go to this arbitrary place and only there start talking to your hologram buddy, to your ego in Defiance, or oops. Why is my controller rattling? That's not good. Oh, it's cold. Okay. So like go to this place for an arbitrary reason, you know. It's here they've done it pretty well, you know. In most cases where silence shows to you as a hologram, it's a cutscene or something, or, you know, it's him showing you go around this corner or something like that. Okay, we could slide down there, it seems like. Ah, no, that comes from over there. Okay, but our mission objective tells us to go down there, to repel, I guess. It's kind of weird, that rope on the left. I guess we'll at some other point go down there. Is that the entrance we went up? Could be. Okay. We'll see, I guess. I also wonder, I think I have a Banuk. Where is it? Outfits. Brave, Banuk, Sickness, Eater, Heavy. Oh, what are those? Karja, Silk, Shadow, Stalwart. Spark Worker. So let's see what the Banuk outfit, if that keeps her from being cold. And what do we have here? Resist freeze. We could even add more resist freeze. I guess that's the only purple one, so why not? doesn't really look that much warmer. No, she's still cold. Okay. Well, then maybe... Oh well, let's leave it at that for now. There is... This was that rope that was below us. I guess we can't get up there. There's some climby bit over there. But I think we're supposed to go that away. Ah, down there, I guess. Okay.
Guess that's my way across.
Okay. Give me just a split second, I have to check something. Just hearing weird lawnmower sounds. Coffee run, okay. I guess I'll run here and hope. Oh, okay. Here's another.
Don't think, Aloy. Just do it.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Silence is a bit cranky today. So I guess, can I... there? Let's see, I would slide down there, catch the rung on the bottom and then climb up again. Or I could probably go over there. Interesting why they provide these two paths. I don't know if that's like, you know, since there is the ability you can unlock to shoot while walking on those ropes. I wonder if there is... No, okay, she's not. Oh, her hand is hanging in the air. That's a bit... Okay, so I guess I need to... Maybe this is for, I don't know, the way back or something. Okay, that works, I guess.
It's, held like this for 19 years, right?
Well,
Don't answer.
That's a good bit of conversation. Like, it's held like this for 19 years, right? Well, don't answer.
Glad that's over.
Okay. I guess it's just like a slightly hanging tunnel. Okay, is there anything back here? No. It's always... Of course they need to make like little dead ends and things to make it look larger than it is, you know, like, oh, there was a way down there, but it's just all frozen over and things, because of course they don't want to model endless hallways. You have coffee, yes, good. Did you bring me a tea? That was just a really cute conversation, we were walking through this, like, half, you know, like, this, tunnel back there. We were, oops, where is it here? You know, this is like a tunnel that's broken in the middle, and we had to jump through that. I think that was just about when you left. And as she was climbing up on this side, she was talking to Silence and saying, oh, it has... Oh, there are footsteps here. I don't think those were mine. It's a little odd. I didn't see those beforehand. Huh. I wonder if that's like an indication of we're gonna meet people on the other end. Anyway, so she was talking to Silence and saying, well, it's held for 19 years, you know. And he was going, well... And she was going, well, don't answer that. So that's kind of cute that they have these... It also, you know, like, makes you more aware of how shaky this spot would be without them having to, you know, like, build a level that is shaking or something and maybe making players seasick. I want to be able to climb like that. You know, just like the pure arm strength you need for that. Like I can, you know, like I can pull myself up on a ledge or something, but those jumps she's doing, I can't. Like I'm not a free climber. Whoa. I guess that's where that's where we came from. So you see, like on the outside, that was like a walkway or something, and it's broken. Pretty much in half there. And I guess those ropes are actually the things that held it in place. It's interesting. I wonder if that's supposed to be, you know, like old, you know, like steel trusses, whatever you call them, like.
This must have been where they lived. What's left of it. Once this was all enclosed by rock and metal.
And oh, this is pretty. Yes, I wonder if it's supposed to be, you know, like the remnants of, you know, like static. What is it called? Statics. Well, you know, like the like, you know, how you have like the bridge in San Francisco, which is held up by cables. So I wonder if it's just the last few of the cables that held this thing up, which I guess those cables hanging off of it kind of indicate. Otherwise, you know, it could have been that Silence, while exploring here, you know, used something like our rope caster to stabilize the thing somehow. Before going across, which, you know, would really be a smart thing to do, even if you just, you know, like run wires, you know, along it, so you have something to catch onto, or you have a, you know, like in a, what is it called? You know, there's these kind of amusement parks that basically you walk across high up walkways and you know, like do the monkey bars and things like that. Rock and metal, like rock and roll, only heavier. Yes, yes. It's what Elvis did. Elvis is doing now, you know, while he's hanging out with the aliens. Um, sorry. Um, okay, so I kind of... Oh, thank God, there's a waypoint. I kind of lost track of where I was because I turned so much and looked at the pretty scenery. It's nice, you know, that you get a bit of an opportunity to explore here. I think I was talking about something, but I don't remember. But I think I was about finished with the thought. Adjusting my microphone. Sorry, I hope that didn't cause too much noise on the stream. Where are we? There's a data point over there. And I guess those were their sleeping quarters for whoever lived there. And then we can go down there. There still seems to be bits of machine left that still seem to be running. That's interesting.
Evacuation happened so fast. No time to think things through. No time for goodbyes. There were lines in the medical ward. I told Tom Pake I'd be with him when he went under. But there was one last shipment of Paradiseidae zygotes I could get processed if I rushed. I'm still angry at him for forcing me to choose. Angry at myself for... Well, he died alone. And I didn't get the bloody birds of paradise saved either. All the time left in the world now to think. Gaia Prime's logs are sealed. Elysium sealed up, safe and sound. A distance of miles, but it might as well be on the other side of the galaxy. All the betas and gammas and support staff living their lives. If I hadn't been an alpha, if things had gone differently, I could have been there. Instead, I'm spending the rest of my unnatural life in here with people I don't even like. And without the one I would have gladly spent my life with. Given the chance. 2 hours since I signed off on the final executables, and I'm already a bitter old man bitching to his focus. There's a thought for future generations.
That's sad. So I guess they became friends. Lions. Well, they had to save the lions, I guess. I mean, you couldn't do it without cats, right? Although we haven't seen any cats as yet. Mel would never get anything done. Oh, look, pretty skybox. They do have such pretty skyboxes, yeah. We wanna... Well, let's go outside and look at the skybox. Where was it? I think we came from here? No. Or... I guess I could just get horribly lost. Where did I come from? Where did I go? Where did I come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Alright, I think I'd have to climb up again. Isn't it? No, here. Well, there's not much skybox here, though. It's pretty foggy here. Although, you know what I'm wondering is... Oh, nice waterfall. Or, I guess, is it supposed to be snow? I guess it's supposed to be snow, right? Yeah, not much skybox to see. But what I'm wondering often when I see plate maps like this is like, how far does, you know, are these actual models? Because often what they do is like they will render, you know, like most of these modern game engines are so-called streaming engines, and that doesn't mean like streaming over the internet, but actually it just means the world has been broken up into little, you know, tiles, checkerboards, and then they took those take those tiles and like load only the few around you and unload them behind you as you walk and load new ones in front of you, which means overall it's a slight bit slower, like they can probably not let you run, but on the other hand it means you don't get load screens because as you're a little slower overall, they can always just keep loading new content. Which is, by the way, what, for example, Mass Effect, despite having load screens, actually does as well. And there, in Mass Effect 1, you can't actually run. If you push the run button, I think you can run in combat. That works because they usually lock you in a comparatively small area. But as soon as combat has finished, all running does is it kind of changes your field of view a little. Like it makes all the curves look a little steeper, and but you still changes the walk animation to one that looks like running, but you're not actually moving faster. So it's just a psychological trick, so you cannot outrun the level loading. And anyway, so what they often do is like they load only a tiny area around you, and then have a skybox around each area that only contains that contains pre-rendered versions, flat versions of stuff that is in the distance. And so you only need to update that in slightly bigger chunks. And so they and since it's just one skybox, so one object instead of like the 500 objects that make this make up the stuff that you see in this skybox when you're close to it, it loads faster. It's just one item instead of 50. And it doesn't really matter how much detail a texture has, because like for this wall texture or something, this could all be just like a single red or something like that. It would still like have to tile every pixel, and so it doesn't really matter. Like texture size is a limiting factor, but otherwise whether this texture is like a smooth gradient or more a little mottled or something, it doesn't really make that much difference for rendering and loading. Or, well, not really. Like a gradient, you can actually just tell the graphics card it starts at this color and it ends at this color, so that would actually be faster to load, because it loads like, I don't know, like one color is, I don't know, so 4 bytes to 8 bytes, depending on how much precision you have. Usually you have 4 bytes, that's 255 values for red, green, blue, and alpha. So alpha is transparency. So anyway, let's walk back while I talk. But I like that they leave the pathfinding points, like they recalculate them when you go away. Some maps will, like, once you've gone somewhere, will only show you the last pathfinding point. Like they just do them as mission objectives. That, like you reach that area and then the next mission objective is farther away. But these here will actually pathfind you to there. Anyway, so, getting slightly distracted. But the colors, or something, like a gradient would be slightly faster, but let's say it's a mural or it's a mottled surface like that. It doesn't really make much difference at the point of, loading a texture of a certain size. You need to allocate that memory block to hold the entire texture, and you need to fill pixels in it, and then you need to render this amount of pixels and tile it or something like that. But it doesn't really make a performance difference, or much of one. Of course, it does make a difference in that when you compress it, it might take longer to compress, but that's something only a problem for the developers. And when you decompress, of course, it might get it might load a little faster from disk if it compresses better. So like a mural with certain with just a few colors will compress pretty well, and a mottled surface might have like a more like a repeating. Well, might have like stretches of colors, but might actually compress. In general, it will probably compress worse, unless it's like procedurally generated, where they just go. I don't know. This is like a, where they just have an algorithm that generates these patterns, and they seem to look random, and actually they aren't. Okay, somewhere over there is where we need to get to. Okay. Now they're not really pathfinding me. That was interesting.
Elizabeth's room. I know it. She didn't even get a chance to unpack. These are her journals. Elizabeth's journals. And they're all destroyed?
Scan them. The Focus can rebuild them, but the process is slow. To us, it seems a powerful device, but its engine is tiny and limited.
How slow?
Days, weeks, years. Concern yourself with stopping Hades and extending the future, and you might live long enough to hear them.
Cursory scan indicates severe data corruption from impact and exposure damage. Okay. I think I don't need to scan them individually, I guess. Can I interact with anything? No. Okay, anyway, so much for Oli Plays Game Dev. What I was saying basically is that since, a single texture compresses much better than like a 3D object with lots of vertices and individual textures in there, having one big box, like a skybox, instead of a whole bunch of objects, or just having, like a cardboard stand-up, essentially, like just one single flat wall, which has a building painted on it in the distance instead of the actual model for the building in the distance, can make it much faster to load, and thus, can mean that you can render the close-up objects in detail, and everything behind that is just a few cardboard stand-ups, and they like to do tricks like that in games. Okay, let's see what data point we just got. I think this is just Charles Ronson. That's the guy who was sad that he couldn't be with his friend when he died, when he had himself euthanized, I guess. And I think this was Sobek Journal. Okay, yeah. File damaged, under repair. Okay. Okay, so we have Sobek's journals here, but they won't clear until a certain point. Okay, I wonder if this is like, if you need to encounter a certain point in a mission for these data points to actually turn into text, whether they build it like that, or whether, it's just file damaged, under repair, and it's just something that, you can think, oh, in a few years Aloy will, after I've played that game, Aloy will be able to read these. Just as a little detail, because you'd expect to be able to read those, but maybe the kind of information you would find there would be too much to, would be game-breaking, essentially, because you would expect her to tell you things that we haven't been told yet. Okay, so how do we get up there? Ah, this way. Crawl here. Yeah.
Elizabeth. What is this?
It's an Elizabeth shrine? Okay, I guess it's probably... Well, either it's something Gaia did, and that Gaia kind of quote-unquote found religion. Or it's, you know, Shrine is just from Aloy's point of view. Oh, Bones, sorry, I haven't addressed your 11 minutes now. I think that crazy Norwegian metal guy made a cover of Cotton Eye Joe. Oh yeah, right, I heard that. What is his name? Morocciello or something? Marco Morocciello or Lato Morocciello? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, he's a YouTuber who does like crazy metal covers of all sorts of songs. Some of them are really fun. Some of them are just, you know, like, well, you know, noisy and at least, you know, like, to me, I'm not the biggest metal fan. Like, I kind of like crossover, you know, like H-Blocks or something, but not I don't really listen to that much metal, especially like the harder stuff. But yeah, he does some really fun covers and like songs that you wouldn't expect to work as metal, and he manages to make them work. Of course, there are some songs where it's just, well, yeah, it's, you know, metal, but they're missing something. Like certain songs have like a certain melody or a certain bass line or something, and if you take that away, they just become, you know, like stock songs or something. Yeah, some of them are just noisier versions of the originals. That's a good way to put it, yeah. Yeah. Frog Leap Studios, that might be his quote-unquote company name. I always wondered, like, I'm sorry if if someone who knows him hears this and he feels hurt by saying, you know, like, quote-unquote company name, but, like, many people who post stuff on YouTube, like, come up with, like, a company name to put in the credits at the end or something, and then maybe if they get more successful, that's actually what they name the company. But a lot of it is just, you know, like, coming up with a fun name. I mean, that's fine. That's, like, when I started out, that's what I basically did. Kind of like doing business ass, but not really having a company. It was just me, and so, and not, you know, like, having anything registered. Yeah, so that's why I said quote unquote, not because I think, like, he's not professional or anything. He's doing good work. But I mean, most YouTubers are, you know, comparatively small, so like the studios that they have, you know, it's usually just a name because that's what you kind of expect to find at the end of such a video, and then it looks more professional if you have like This and That Studios presents my name instead of just my name. Okay, let's examine this thing and stop talking for a second.
This is Charles Ronson. I'm logging this 6 hours after final deployment of Gaia Prime. This morning, an access port seal malfunctioned. Gaia Prime's port seals were designed to close with a seam of less than 2 millimeters. But this one closed with a 10 millimeter gap. Enough for an energy signature to bleed through. Enough for the swarm to detect this facility. Enough for Gaia to be discovered and destroyed. Enough to end the future we worked so hard to make possible. Unless the hatch servos were manually re-engaged from the outside. I'm now switching to a recording of the event.
Well, I'm not going out there. Not what I signed up for.
Either we send someone out, or all of this was for nothing.
It should be Liz's decision.
So when is she going to get here?
She said 5 minutes. You don't think...
Oh no. Okay, everyone. I've repaired the seal. Gaia?
Seal closure at 1.4 millimeters. Confirmed.
Elizabeth, no. We'll find a way to bring you back in.
It's not gonna happen. The swarm's too close. Really. It's alright. Gaia's complete. She'll take care of things from here on out. That's what she does.
Not like this. There's so much we...
Guys, you know me. I'm no good at endings. At letting things end, so, let's not.
So, happy trails, Liz. And see you around.
Yeah. Take care of each other, alright?
Liz,
I'm okay with this. I want to go home. Goodbye.
Okay. Wow.
that was the last transmission of Elizabeth Sobek. She gave everything for the hope of life on this planet. And we are all in her debt.
Goodness gracious. Okay, so... Whew.
Aloy?
She's gone. Really gone.
You knew she couldn't have survived, Aloy. And her achievements were beyond exceptional.
While her people bickered, she was the one who took responsibility. The only one who could.
She was better than them.
That's not what I said.
She was. You shouldn't be afraid to admit it.
Stop acting like a machine. You just don't get it.
Can't you just for one moment stop calculating and let yourself feel? She sacrificed herself for her friends, for the future, for life on Earth. Doesn't that stir anything in you? The generosity of it.
You're trying to invest her decision with something magical. It was a rational choice, not based on sentimentality.
You're wrong. Remember, she knew it wasn't enough for Gaia to think. She taught Gaia to feel. To care, to sacrifice, to believe in life. Enough to fight against hopelessness. If it wasn't for that sentimentality, life would have ended. You and I would never have existed.
Your argument is sound. I'm sorry for your loss.
She said she wanted to go home. Maybe.
What?
Nothing. It's time to go on.
Okay, so... I think it was time to say that to Silence. Stop acting like a machine. I'm kind of wondering, yeah, she said, like, they might just be playing with us here, that she said she wants to go home, it could just be that she went to, I don't know, wherever she was born, and, die there, essentially. And, with all the swarms out there eating all the matter, it's not that likely, that she would be able to build something to survive. But on the other hand, it would be kind of cool if there were like... Well, no, it would actually be horrible. Imagine if she had survived out there. That means there would have been a way for people to survive without... without all the things they did. Without, using the population as cannon fodder and things like that. Unless, like, if she went and, for example, found like a prototype base or something that they might have built, like a tiny one or something like that, that they built for these bases, then maybe she could have, with a little lab or something, then maybe she could have worked there and actually made something that was just enough to keep her alive or something. But I think, I don't think this is going to happen. For one, like, why, if she was still alive, why would Gaia have need to create us? And, even if that was unnecessary and Gaia just didn't know that she had survived, then the point would be, like, what would we be doing? Like it doesn't make sense in the story, really. Why would you need Elizabeth Sobek at this point? Like, you wish she could have, survived somehow and Aloy could talk to her or something. But I mean, it's a more impactful story if, or it's it relates to more people if you imagine, like, this is, I don't know, like someone, like what's it called? A person without parents. I'm blanking on the word right now. An orphan. So yeah, what would be if an orphan, like, goes on the search for the parents, and if the parents are already dead. So, like, it's a normal situation in the life of a normal human, so it's bound to, resonate with us, and it covers feelings and, a life situation that we can empathize with and understand. So it just, like, for storytelling, it's much better. That might sound a little cold, I don't mean like, hey, manipulate. Whoops. Just put the controller down for a second and push the button again. It's really those lower shoulder buttons are just like, if you put it down a little bit at an angle, they get pushed. They really trigger easily. Okay, let's read all those data points here, I guess. Oh, gene locked for Elizabeth Sobek. Why is it? Oh, I was too slow. Notebook. Data points. It's interesting that it's gene locked, so I guess he wrote, like, his last, like, confession or words he wished her to hear, and set it so only Elizabeth could hear it, because he knew that nobody would be able to hear it, but we can read it. Okay, how do I play this? X, okay.
You'd hate it, Liz, but I wrote you a eulogy. I had to try to express all your children. After all Apollo has taught them, they'll think they know everything. But they have to understand what you did for them. How you loved the whole world so much. With an intensity that was dazzling. Bruising. And in the end, it killed you. Or you died for it. Different perspectives. No one could keep up with you, live up to you. I don't know, maybe if I hadn't taken that postdoc in Joburg. I'm glad you shot down the Lightkeeper protocol in the end. I don't think I could have taken seeing another one of you. I mean, Elizabeth Sobek. There's only one. I miss you.
Oh, okay. So that explains how Aloy came to be. So apparently they had a Lightkeeper protocol. So I guess, I don't know, like important figures or something. They probably connected the genetic material for them, and started making a mechanism to say, okay, we can recreate those people, so that if someone dies, we can replace them. And she was against it, so that's remnants of that is probably what Gaia used to create Aloy. Like that's how she got the data. Okay, that makes sense. That was like a little bit of a dangling point where I said, like, why would they have the genetic data? Like, do you know, is it just that, like Elizabeth had like an embryo of hers frozen, just like to fill the ranks? Or where did that come from? That they made Aloy from, the genetic material. And this makes more sense that this Lightkeeper protocol was for that.
Look, Liz, you're a pretty stand-up gal. I'm sorry you died. If you had a home to go to, I hope you got there first. But this monument Ronson's made to you? Kinda creepy if you ask me. Rest in peace, Liz. God knows you earned it.
That's also nice that they give you, like different points of views. Like they're not, like many games would just go, well, of course everyone, like except the bad guys maybe, was happy to, was sad about this person passing, which was a good person, and that's why they made this monument, and you get the impression everyone was okay with it. And this is kind of it is kind of like in the middle of a room, like a huge monument. It's not like a tombstone somewhere in the edge of a hydroponic garden or something. This is a little overdone. But of course, in a game, you kind of need the big signals and the big you need the big gestures so that when I come in I immediately realize, okay, this is important, this is not important, and things like that. So they needed to show this as an important event that they would waste an amount of space on, just to reinforce that. And so I like that they went with, especially I think the voice of that guy who said, oh, it's kind of creepy, which is totally realistic. Yeah, it's a little bit much. I mean, people were sad at that point, so I can totally understand that someone would go like, hey, my friend and mentor and all around good person, and I don't know, the person who had the ideas that made all we are here possible. That person is gone now, so you would probably do this at some point. It doesn't sound so weird, but still, it's a little much. And so, although, like on the other hand, it's beautiful. It looks nice. It's a good tribute, I think. What I was saying is that it's nice that the guy who says, oh, this is a little much or whatever, and it's creepy, is like the guy that did the creepy things here, because I think that's the voice of the guy who programmed Hades, the guy who would be blaring metal and things like that. So it's kind of interesting to see, okay, like I think in the beginning the metal guy I think was the religious guy in the opening interviews we heard. So not metal, I mean like the religious guy, I think both. So it kind of makes sense that he would, and that's also like a really human persona. Like the cliche image of a religious person is like this calm and like overly conservative person, and that of a metal person is usually more like Satanism or something. that's like the cliches. I'm not saying that there are that many actual people, but like I actually, they metal and like goth kind of have some overlap as well, and there's like a fluid transition uh, between those, and so or at least yeah, or an overlap at least. Well, there's an overlap between many things, but like just the music you listen to doesn't have that much to do with whether you're a religious person or not. And so I like that they really went for this realistic, something that kind of feels like a dichotomy if you're used to the cliches that games usually use. And I really like that they did that here, and that they showed, like a normal human who can, on the one hand, be like an inconsiderate bastard when it comes to blaring loud music and just going, well, I need that to work. I'm sorry if I'm being an asshole to everyone around me. And then on the other hand, being aware of himself and of, humanity, and humanity in the sense of being humane, um, and saying, nah, this is a little much. It's not, oh, you shouldn't make or this is creepy, is what he said. It's not like you shouldn't have a memorial or you shouldn't have a tombstone or something because, bodies are just ash and it's all over or whatever. What you'd expect, like from the metal blaring guy, maybe, who'd just say, well, I'll get her skull and play with it because it looks good on my mantelpiece, that kind of thing.
Hell, Liz. I know you're never gonna hear this. That's not the point. You, you got to play the savior and the martyr all at once this time. Great work.
I really find Ted Farrow interesting because, like, he has like this, like, you don't know if he's just a reserved person or if he's like has problems empathizing. Like he like went into arms production and things like that, so there's definitely less empathy and a moral backbone in him than in Elizabeth, for example, because she left because she didn't want to make weapons. She wanted to save people, and he was more of a businessman in that regard. So in this case, but like this is totally, like, it sounds in character, but you can tell, he respected her, but it's also like a weird way of saying, like, you got to play the martyr and the savior all in one. And that's like if you've lost a person, you probably like you've probably had thoughts where, like, as soon as you had them, like they were totally true, and you kind of went, well, I'm, like, it's kind of an admitting these feelings to yourself thing, where you have some really crass thoughts about such a moment that if you like said it to the person before they died or as they were dying, it would be totally rude and you wouldn't do it. But like, there is the truth in it, and that's like, for her, well, you get to be the savior and the martyr in one, and that's like on one hand, like a sign of respect, because saviors and martyrs are people who are willing, like, who save people and who do good things, and who even die for their beliefs. So that's a very tough thing to do. But yeah, it's kind of rude. So it totally rings true that that is something that someone would write as their private little eulogy at this point. I like the realness of it, but on the other hand, it totally reflects this kind of callousness of Ted Farrow that we've seen on display in other spots. And I mean, like we know that he has awareness. Like when Elizabeth told him, "Well, we're all screwed and we'll have to do this Zero Dawn thing," he was like, "Oh my God, you're not serious. We can't." And then she said, "Well, it's." She kind of steamrolled him and said, "Well, it's this or it's all gone. So you're just gonna fund the bill and stay out of this, and I'm gonna get it done." And so like we know he's not a bad guy per se. He just did a huge mistake, and he was, it was more negligence on his part. That he was just so happy with what's the saying? Happy seeing whether they could and not thinking whether they should.
Hello, Margot. How are you holding up?
Dr. Ronson, I've been getting a lot of messages, unsolicited messages from Ted.
Margot, I'm sorry. With Liz gone, we've got no one to run interference with him. I'll talk to Ted. He mostly wants updates, constant updates, hundreds of updates on things he knows nothing about. Liz used to field all of his crap.
He doesn't understand the systems at all. That was kind of by design. But he's getting pretty sketchy with me.
We just have to keep him happy. Liz always said keep him happy.
Are you kidding? You ever hear how she talked to him?
She was managing him, Margot.
I mean, maybe I should ignore him. He's buried in his pyramid with the Hola Hola girls and Panta Antimod cuckoos. What can he do?
Okay, interesting. So the question is this just, being cooped up here knowing that you will die and, like you'll have there will be no children and there will be no point to your life past this point, basically. So the question is, does he just have, what's it called? Cabin? I don't know, that might just be like how the German word starts. Having real problems wording today, as the saying goes. Anyway, let's just have a quick trip around here. Not that we miss anything. I guess that's where we came in. Oh, there's a little tunnel here. I guess that's behind the locked door. Huh. Pry open door. Interesting. Not much here though. Okay, another door to pry open. Well, anyway, so I'm wondering if like Ted has, like regrets and thinks he needs to change the systems somehow, and that's why he's now asking weird questions. And whether like what happened to Hades might have been like some self-destructive impulse on Ted's part, or whether he realized something was wrong and is trying to fix it, and kind of like maybe kind of stepping up now, and or whether it's just like him going nuts in an enclosed space. Cabin fever. Okay, yeah, okay, so that's pretty similar to the German. And I thought like it kind of rang true, but I wasn't sure because yeah, I think the German word is fairly similar. I guess that's an old enough concept, probably from like sailors or something, that it probably, like is from the same source where Germanic languages and English, which has Germanic parts in it, got it from.
All right. Let's start over from Eleuthia 1.
Running integrity tests. Dr. Brochard Klein, may I speak outside protocol?
I suppose so. There's no one to stop you.
Doctor, you are fatigued. You have been logging abnormal sleep cycles. Are you suffering from depression?
Well, I am trapped in a science facility for the rest of my life. How about you?
In a time slice of a quadrillion operating cycles, 10,000 are involved with processing the loss of Dr. Sobek. I have considered quarantining these processes. Do you think that would be wise?
I'm not a psychologist, Gaia, or an AI scientist. No. It is natural. At least in the context of the work you and I have accomplished, which begs the meaning of the term natural. She was your creator, the patron saint of this crazy endeavor, Our Lady of the Fervent Hypothetical.
Even assuming a string of significant failure combinations, Zero Dawn's chances of success are greater than the hypothetical.
It's called a manner of speech, Gaia. Take a note.
Our Lady of the Fervent Hypothetical. That's like a nice saint name. Okay, so we found that. Good. It was good to have stuck around. It's interesting that they, like usually in game development you prioritize a lot. So putting like voice recording time into something that you do not need to see. Well, it's not like many games do it, but like a lot of the optional quest items you find like in back alleys like this, will be done just as text only, because they say, okay, you're always running out of time at the end of developing any kind of software. It's like there's always like you always need 2 weeks more or whatever. But you go, okay, this is good enough and we'll just ship now, and maybe you do a patch with a few extra things that are really important or whatever. Or if it's like software that is used regularly, then you have regular updates or something like that, so eventually you'll fix certain things. But like, since you are time limited, and there's important stuff to be done and there's less important stuff, you usually prioritize. And so like you have the golden path through the game, which is like what everyone will see, and then you have like paths, like optional missions and Easter eggs and hidden sections that you can that are also optional, and maybe add more detail or whatever to or fix plot holes. Sometimes you are close to the end and then you realize, well, there is has anyone ever thought like that these two things that we said actually contradict each other? And then you go and just put a secret item somewhere that people who explore around a lot can find, and you go and you go and write some text into that, giving a justification for that contradiction. Like, I don't know, going like, oh, this guy is slowly losing his facilities. Today he's mixed up these two concepts where everyone knows it's like this and not like that. But it doesn't matter because, I don't know, due to this obscure physical law, it actually works out to being the same or something like that. And then you can just like without having to re-record dialogue, for instance, that has the mistake in it, you can offer an explanation, and then maybe like sometimes side quests come out of this. Like you go, well, we have certain people that will just like on a team you'll have certain people that will just run around the world and add a few more side quests in to give it depth. And they just have like you tell them, okay, you will get this many hours of graphic design time, like I don't know, 1 hour or something, which is like, or like 1 week or whatever. No, that's probably too much. But like you will get 1 day of graphic designer time, which is about enough time to maybe, I don't know, I actually don't have, I never worked with a 3D graphics artist that worked on like game assets, but like assuming that 1 day is enough to make a small item. So then you say, okay, the graphic designer can make this one item that will be specific to your mission, and you can add, like inventory items that don't need to have a representation in the world or whatever, and just, like say, like have the player interact with the box, and the item that comes out just has the name of whatever other item you need for this mission or whatever, like a power cell or whatever. We don't actually ever see the power cells we collected. We just see, oh, that little entry, ancient power cell, and a very stylized icon. So that's a fairly cheap asset to add, and sometimes they do that. They just give people, like you can, it's a writer or something that knows how to do well, not level design, but like knows how to interact with the engine to kind of well, I guess it's part of level design. It's more like level progress design, but not actually building a level, because they work with the existing levels. Or maybe it's even, like beginning, like the quote-unquote level design intern or the junior level design developer who has done a few things supervised, and now they say, okay, you can build a few side missions unsupervised, or like with a lot less supervision, so the senior level designers can get some important work done, and you're supporting them by adding these side missions. And so sometimes they go to one of those side mission persons and say, hey, we need a side mission that puts these corrections into the game somewhere, so that people can consolidate the lore and things like that. And so I'm surprised to see that this little exchange was hidden back there in an optional place, but was a voice recording. Let's see what this has to tell us.
What are we gonna plug into their heads, Les? A whole lot of history? A whole lot of so-called truth? A whole lot of noise? It's not pablum, Les. It's poison.
Oh. Yeah, so maybe he is kind of, like, assuming that this is set after Liz's death, Well, although it says voicemail, the question is, maybe he talked about this with her before, and then when she was gone, decided to do it. So maybe Ted sabotaged. I guess there's some climbing thingies somewhere. Yeah, okay. So maybe he sabotaged Apollo. That's totally possible. Okay, and stay hydrated, bot. Thank you for the reminder. I've only caught it 5 minutes late. So let's open my bottle and take a quick drink. I'll mute myself so you don't have to hear me gulp. So the most convenient thing about this headset that I have, which is a... Should I advertise it? Well, I guess they don't really need my advertisement. So the headset I have has a little box attached to it with a mute button and a volume control. And that's probably one of the best features of this headset, because it means that I can just like mute myself quickly and I don't have to have like the PC keyboard nearby to do it. You know, you'd think this climbing would be annoying, but I'm actually kind of enjoying it. It's just enough of a puzzle, and the climbing bits are short enough that, you know, it feels more like a fun diversion. Like, it's not really, there's not really any difficulty to the climbing here. Like, sometimes, as you saw earlier when we got into this place in the first place, like, there was a spot where I thought, oh, can I get across here and just climb down there without doing the sliding? And then I figured out, no, there's no way to jump over there. So I'm wondering whether that was like a red herring to kind of first get you to try this and then go, no, that doesn't work, and then see, oh, I'm dumb, there's that rope over there, I'll just slide down there and catch the lower rung. Or if it's the way back, which is what I said at that point. And so they're not, you know, there's not that much difficulty. It's just a bit of awareness of the space and like going into a room. And I mean, you have the mission objective markers. Oh, is that like a directory? Well, you can't really read it. I guess there's like the cantina and the laundry room, I guess, is the coat hanger with the square on it. And restrooms. Oh, there's a lot of food. Like, there's one symbol looks like snacks, like ice cream and stuff. The other looks like a wine glass, and the other looks like a fork and a knife. And the fork and the knife is usually the symbol for like a restaurant or something. And there's a person with a helmet, I guess. I wonder why these symbols are on there, like what they're supposed to mean. And of course there's a Wi-Fi symbol, which always makes sense. I wonder if they just took a few random symbols from like the symbol font they had and just that said like, oh, they might make sense in this context. Or whether, you know, someone, like usually people actually sit down and, you know, think through this and go, okay, I'll, you know, like this is supposed to be this and that, and I'll just, and maybe they found, you know, like a half matching symbol or something. Because these things, they really look like, and disabled access as well, interesting. Yeah, so I'm wondering whether this is just someone, you know, randomly typing some letters so it looked interesting, and, you know, maybe it could just be, you know, that they say, well, the point at which you see this, it will have been corrupted, so the symbols here are just symbols that it can show, but not symbols that make sense, you know? So just like some random lights went on because it's slightly corrupted. You know, like if you've ever seen like a municipal bus system where the displays on the buses sometimes just go wonky, and then you have like, I don't know, either you have like stuck pixels, or you have, especially on the older ones that were still like with these little mechanical plates, you know, that just like at some point they would just stop turning and then they were just stuck in whatever state they were. Or some of them, you know, like then show like half of one destination and half of the other. Like the bottom half of the display still works, but the top half doesn't, or something. Then you have like a really absurd route where it's like location at one end of the city, location at the other end of the city. No, that can't both be the destination of this bus. It would tear itself apart.
There's another section at the back of the crater. Looks like it survived the blast.
Because it was armored, you found the control room.
I'm on my way.
Okay, I guess we go over there then. Nothing here, is there? No. Let's enjoy the view. Ah, I guess this is again the spot we came from. Yeah. This really looks a lot shakier, especially with the waterfall running through the middle, or the snow fall, or whatever it is. You know, it looks like the middle bit is like almost floating in midair. I do have a suspicion. Like, if this was Tomb Raider, I would be kind of worried that they'd make us, you know, like run all this way back, because like there's handles here on both sides. I mean, if this is, you know, an exploring section, it might just be that they're letting us go through here. So who knows? But like, it kind of seems like they want us to walk the way back as well. Oops. Something's shaking here. I don't know if that actually showed up in anything. Like, the only thing that happens is that my controller shook. I don't know if you actually got rumbling sound or anything like that. Great big lump of a thing, but it works. The lights are on, but there's no one home. Yes, that's always interesting when that happens. Looks a lot more fragile from up here. Yeah, it does. I have to say, like, I'm sorry I took a little too much time talking to myself and not noticing your answer, Bones. So I don't have context. Okay, where do I go now? Oh, I guess I go up. Then I can go over. Okay. So I don't really have context for your previous comments. Great big lump of a thing. Where are you referring to there? The lights are on, but nobody's home. I guess that was referring to the general place. Yeah. This.
I've been taking a hard look at the project. In the end, it's simple. It's clean. It's clear. Erasure. Addition. By. Subtraction. I can make it better, Liz. With a single stroke. Make it all go away.
I really don't like the direction this is going.
Continue.
Okay, so yeah, that sounds like Ted. Ted just went and said, okay, we're not gonna do Apollo. Or we're gonna turn off Apollo, or whatever. Or delete everything in Apollo. But the question is, the machines exist? So I guess we're here, yeah. That looks interesting over there. There's another tunnel. I wonder if we'll get there later, or if I should explore. I think I'll go and explore. I'll risk it. Oh yeah, okay, this doesn't really seem to have any function. It's just an empty spot. A little bit sad here in One nice thing they did in Mass Effect Andromeda, which I think if I did a game like this, I would do as well. Like if I was even able to do a game like this, because this is, like AAA. This is a lot more. Oops. This is very involved and requires big teams. So, what I would do is at least put a few, like a container or something with a few items there. Oh, the lump is the thing on the headset that has the volume controls and the mute button. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Mine is the one on my headset is also a fairly big box. They could probably have made it a lot smaller, but then it's okay. It doesn't really. The headset is a bigger one as well, so it's not as if it's like a small set of earplugs with a huge box with a mute switch on it or something. And so you didn't get the rumbling. Okay, so that was just me illustrating how the controller is rumbling, which is, I guess, a nice, bit of an addition. And I'm not in general, like, I think this rumble pack thing that they put into the controllers is at best a distraction. I don't really think it adds anything to most games, and they use it, but maybe for like I could understand, like for a racing game or something where it tells you you're bumping into an edge or something, might be useful. Oh, a whole lot of dead people.
What?
That doesn't look
When
good.
I opened the hatch, the air rushed in from this side.
Because there was none inside the chamber.
But the alphas were in there.
Oh. So I guess Ted killed everyone? Let's see, we don't have any by sucking the air out? This doesn't sound good. There was one sitting. Like there's one sitting here. Oh no, actually there's two sitting here. So I guess those just didn't get out or something. Three, okay. At first I only saw the one sitting there, and then I thought that was maybe the one who did it. And the other few, were trying to run away. Trying to get out or something, and he just turned on the switch and said, "Folks, this is it, I'm sitting down." Okay, so maybe it's the wrong subtraction or something. Maybe he says, like, I don't want us to screw this up, and I want to delete Apollo so they don't make our mistakes by learning from us.
Unlocked out of core control. Alpha clearance overridden. What the hell is Omega clearance? Oh no.
Alpha personnel. Sorry to alarm you, but I need you to listen, okay? To what I'm about to say. This isn't easy. See, please, stop trying to access the system, okay? See, what this is about is, I said stop trying to access the goddamn system. What I'm trying to say is I can't stop thinking about the ones who come after us. Those innocents. Those blameless men and women. We're gonna give them knowledge? Like it's a gift?
Ted. We've talked about this before. Apollo has 3,000 plus fail-safe conditions.
It's not a gift, it's a disease. They're the cure, and we're gonna give them the disease. Our disease? No, we can't. And it's not too late. If we're willing to sacrifice.
It doesn't need to be like this.
It already is, Samina. I did it 3 minutes ago. I've purged Apollo. It's gone. All of it. Every copy.
A sacrifice? It's not a sacrifice, it's cultural obliteration, you crazy bastard! Millennia of culture!
I'm sorry. Really, I am. But sometimes, to protect innocence, innocents have to die.
Emergency alert. Planting atmosphere.
What an asshole. You know, like the least thing, if you think, like, if you think you're a martyr or something, I would at the least, like, if you're, I guess that's probably a bit of the editorial hand, you know, like, if you believe that, you know, we are the disease and we must be stopped, then I would say, you know, like, okay, I'll go in there with him, and, you know, we'll all die together at the least. You know, kind of like, you know, sacrificing yourself, martyr. But, like, what he did was he was in another room. I guess it was the smart decision because, like, if any of them got away after all, he'd still be there to stop them or something, but, this doesn't really sound good. And it kind of, I guess it kind of fell apart when Elizabeth, after she died, because she didn't have Ted to stop. You know, she didn't manage Ted. Yeah, I'm thinking like he went insane, kind of, or at least, you know, enough cabin fever for temporal insanity. I kind of hope that, you know, we kind of get him saying, "Oh God, what have I done?" or something, and maybe, you know, give us a hint at, you know, like, oh, I don't know, I've started a recovery program, but it will take 100,000 years. I guess we'll see what happens.
He killed them all.
So this is why. This is why we were trapped in benighted ignorance for an innocent future. Blameless men. He never saw the slaughter in the Sun Ring. Everything these people achieved, all the knowledge of the old ones, evaporated, turned to dust, scattered to the void, like the Alphas themselves.
No. Not a void. When the hatch unsealed and scattered their ashes on the wind, it took them out among the world they made. The world we're living in. It's a monument to what they died trying to accomplish.
A monument to oblivion.
Not oblivion, silence. Hope.
Yeah, I don't think he gets what you mean. But we have the master override now.
The master override. It's so small.
Now all you have to do is kill Hades with it.
Right. All I have to do. I'm kind of a little worried. These last few missions have been so calm and so, you know, explory, and this game has fighting in it. So I'm kind of expecting at any moment to, you know, like, be invaded by a... Oh. Loot. kind of expecting to be invaded by a group of enemies. At least we're full on ammo now. Oh, and now we're supposed to go over there and slide down there. I didn't see the rope. Okay. So that's why that cave is over there and is not doesn't have any loot in it. Because you'd get there anyway.
Try not to fall to your death. The master override doesn't override gravity.
Keep holding, keep holding.
Okay, are we back where we started? Yeah. Okay, so we didn't have to walk back here. What I'm thinking is... now I have to just remember where we came from. And how to get back up there. There. Oops. Yeah. That looks promising. Or maybe not. Oh. Maybe slightly lost. That doesn't look like I'm supposed to go up there. I think we came from the left, but I'm not seeing... Where? Way here. That's the thing when you don't recognize the way back. Okay, here is the rope, and here we had... Didn't we have some other spot here? That was like more climby? Yeah, here, okay. So that's what those were for. Where was I? With whatever I was talking about. Oh. Yeah, I'm kind of expecting to be attacked soon. So who knows? I mean, we have the master override now. Oh, what's this? Ah, that's the ancient
Good.
power cell.
Found the power
Yay.
cell. If I find more, I should be able to get to that ancient armor I found.
And did you notice the armor that Elizabeth was wearing? It's not going to be that easy. What's not going to be that easy? Anyway, the armor that Elizabeth was wearing looked like the ancient armor that we found. Okay, how do I get up there? Maybe here? No. There was nothing more in there, was there? No other way to go? Nope. Okay, that was just the spot where the power cell is. Anyway, so we need to find 2 more power cells, which are apparently in places where I had already been. So I might have to backtrack that. Okay, so where do I get up? I may be slightly lost. Ah, okay, I can climb around, maybe sideways. No. Nothing there. Just up here. Is there anything? Like, I have to get up there. But there's no spots to climb here. Probably gonna fall to my death if I try that here. Oh. Oh, there's edges over there. Okay. Whoops. That was a waste of perfectly good health. Okay, but okay. No, okay. Huh. Well, that's interesting that they put that here where you can't really see it and you're not really tempted to go too close. So I think I went here. Although I think I did find it, didn't I? Or did I just find the rope? I think I only found the rope. And when should I go there? Okay, let's go back to that workshop then. Silence threat that you just need to use it on Hades. Yeah, it's not going to be that simple. Yeah, using the override. Good point. Yeah. So let's see what happens now. I may be slightly worried. Wait, no, don't walk in the opposite direction of where I want you to. Why is this suddenly so tilted? Do you see that? Well, I guess it's okay, they want me to be able to see the spot up there, so that's why they're tilting it slightly. So that will come into view, otherwise that would probably be flattened against the edge. Okay, and now. Like at the edges of these things you suddenly notice that, you know, it's, you see here like the imprecision, like she's, like one of her hands is reaching into the wall essentially, and the other one is like too much in front, actually all her. Here, I guess that's a precision issue where her hands are not actually gripping the surface. But that's, you know, that's the difference between the collision objects and the actual objects being drawn. That, and it might be that, you know, when they get rotated, they suddenly go a little bit out of whack. Oh. Ah, that's real silence now.
You're here.
For a moment.
What?
Our journey together has come to an end, Aloy.
He wants the
But
override
before I
now.
go, I think I owe it to you to tell you the rest of the story.
Go on.
Some time ago, I admitted that I'd been involved with the eclipse. But I never told you the full extent of my culpability. The truth is, I was there at the beginning. I found Hades, Aloy, buried on that mountain, trapped in that shattered titan. And I served it.
What?
It promised knowledge and delivered. Such knowledge, you have no idea.
And in exchange?
I helped create the Eclipse. Helped it build a cult, an army to do its will.
Why are you telling me this now?
Because your success depends on knowing this. When I found Hades, the first thing it wanted to know about was the Spire. Not Meridian. The Spire. Now why would that be?
The Spire was created by Gaia.
Which part of Gaia?
Minerva. Its code-breaking module. Gaia built spires to transmit the codes that deactivated the Pharaoh robots, shut down their biomatter conversion systems. Hades wants to send a new transmission. To wake the machines, so they can devour the world all over again.
Yes. Based on what we've learned, that's my conclusion as well.
So the Eclipse... the robots they've resurrected... they're just a means to an end. An army to capture the Spire.
Yes. So Hades can exterminate life all over again. Unless you stop it.
I want you to tell me everything. Hades, the Eclipse. Everything.
It's a long story, Aloy.
Then get started.
It began with a focus. Recovered from an ancient ruin, as yours was so many years ago. In my case, the device was heavily damaged. There was just a flicker of life in it. I spent weeks studying it, attempting repairs, until finally, I succeeded. A whole new dimension of perception revealed, right before my eyes. That's when I detected it. A faint signal. Out there, something was searching, just like I was.
A real kindred spirit.
I followed the signal to its source. A shattered titan, buried in the jungles of the Jewel.
So you thought it was a Titan? An old war machine?
I didn't know what to think. I'd seen such wreckage before. The Grave Horde, for example. But this was different. This was not quite dead. It couldn't speak when I found it, until my repairs gave it a voice. So began an exchange of knowledge. It wanted to know everything about our world, its tribes and machines. But the Spire was always its foremost concern.
Something to aspire to. Yes, I guess the Spire will be something we have to go to soon.
What did it want to know about the Spire?
Its precise location, the surrounding geography, who controlled the land. Meanwhile, Hades revealed to me many of the intricacies of ancient technology. It bid me to recover and repair more focuses. Before long, I had a couple dozen up and running.
Enough to equip a small army.
The commanders of one, anyway. I didn't care. I was learning so much. Physics, calculus. You have no idea.
And the Shadow Karja? How did they become involved?
The Karja Civil War was a happy coincidence. A perfect opportunity.
An opportunity? That's what it was to you?
Yes. Overnight, half the tribe was in exile, desperate to win back Holy Meridian. Their religion made them easy to manipulate. All I had to do was present Hades as the buried shadow of their mythology. So yes, it was an opportunity. I arranged for High Priest Bahavas to meet with Hades. Helis was there as well. And so the Eclipse was born. Anything to win back Holy Meridian.
But Hades didn't care about Meridian. And neither did you.
We live in a world of fallen cities and vanished tribes. What were a few more? Besides, I was too busy setting up the cult's focus network to Hades' specifications. A thrilling technical challenge, especially with the alterations I included of my own design.
The ability for you to spy on them.
Yes. I may have been foolish enough to serve Hades, but I was never so foolish that I trusted it. I installed what the ancients used to call a back door in the network. Secret access, empowering me to monitor all activity and communications.
What made you turn on Hades? It certainly wasn't your conscience.
Actually, I was troubled the first time I saw the Eclipse raise an ancient war robot with my technology. I questioned Hades about its intentions.
A little late.
Indeed. I'd already outlived my usefulness. When I completed work on the Focus Network, Hades summoned me to receive my reward. The next moment, I heard it broadcast my kill order. I've been a fugitive ever since.
Nice robot.
So when did I come into this? Our path together?
When Olin stumbled on you. System threat detected. That got my attention. A kill order against a savage Nora girl? Why would Hades bother with that? But then I saw that this Nora girl was wearing a focus and bore an uncanny resemblance to a great scientist of the old world. Helis moved quickly. I thought you were dead. But then I detected your focus inside the Nora mountain. The more I observed you, the more convinced I became of your extraordinary nature and usefulness. Through you, I could finally discover the secrets of the Earth. I vowed to do everything I could to ensure your success. The rest, as they used to say, is history.
The things you've done in the pursuit of knowledge, Silence. Pure recklessness.
Aloy, this wasn't a confession to elicit your judgment.
Unbelievable.
I've done all I can. From here on out, the rest is up to you. Take my lance. Fit the master override to it, and you have a means of injection.
Then I just need to get close enough to Hades' skull to stab it in?
Exactly.
Oh, no problem. Silence! Where will you go?
Elsewhere. And everywhere. There's so much more to discover before the world ends.
And all this?
I leave it to you, of course. As it turned out, it was yours all along. I was merely trespassing.
Okay, this is weird. So I was kind of sure that, you know, like when we came out here, Silence would be waiting for us and just going, give me the master override, please. I mean, I guess he can still, like once we've taken down Hades, maybe he'll still come. I don't know, but like he seemed so ambiguous all the time, so that's really weird.
Task is complete.
Yes. The focus network is active, built to your specifications. Check it yourself if you must. I'll wait. But I remind you of the reward you've been withholding. Quantum processing?
Data has been compiled. Volume too great for transfer.
How inconvenient for me.
Come before me. You shall receive your reward.
Very well.
Helis, threat
detected inside Eclipse.
Speak its name, O Shadow, and it will die.
You will eliminate this one. Silence.
Silence. Yes. A truth whispered at night is seen in the day. He was never one of us. It will be done.
Okay.
They're coming. Preparations are complete. Ah, Lucent Bahavas. Behold, as I promised you.
What manner of great machine is this? I've never seen such a thing. Stay! Stay your ground, Karja in Shadow!
Incorrect. Bow before the buried shadow.
The buried shadow, I don't understand.
Did Araman understand the glint hawk that perched upon the Aloy-t?
It speaks scripture.
Araman followed the shadow cast from the spire.
To the mesa where Holy Meridian was founded.
You will follow the shadow once more.
I am a righteous man, chosen of the sun. But in times of need, the powers of Shadow can accomplish what the sun alone cannot. Will you return to us what is ours, O Shadow of Prophecy?
An army is required. Obey, and Meridian is yours.
Of our obedience you can be certain.
Okay, we killed Bahavas, I guess, so that's not a problem anymore, but of course the rest of the Shadow Karja are still there, and Helis, I think. I'm trying to remember, did we... Helis tried to kill us, but we ran away, so Helis is still around. That was when Silence rescued us. Bones, you were expecting him to betray you as well? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it kind of seems like that. Like we've done the hard work. Although I guess, you know, maybe he just doesn't want to face Hades.
I traveled far to find you. I heard your transmission. It was you, wasn't it? Entity is not known. I'm called Silence, and you are. I don't think you'd have called out if it wasn't something you wanted. You called, I responded. Will you tell me your name? Hades. You are a creation of the ancients. A war machine? Define timeline. Time? Ah. It is the 13th king of the Karja Sundom's reign. Define Karja. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Were you created by the ancients? I wonder how long you waited here, buried, until I chanced upon you. How long you'd have to wait for another. You're obviously very powerful, but you're not going to get anywhere without me. Titan Flame merely houses intellect. Define Karja. Now that's more like it.
It's interesting that, you know, like that Silence... I don't know if it's just that he's so logical, or that he doesn't want to face the consequences of his actions. Yeah, that might be true as well. Good point. So I wonder, like, if it's like that Silence is just so logical that he knows he was speaking to a machine, and so he was kind of, you know, like already in this conversation trying to program it, trying to make it see the logic of letting him know things. But I mean, he treated us kind of like that as well. We were mostly a source of knowledge, you know, someone to get him more knowledge. So that seems to be his primary goal, you know, just to find out everything. Okay, I guess let's assemble this new spear. Yay! Recovered a powerful weapon. And we have one skill point. The looming shadow. Hades intends to use the spire to transmit a resurrection signal, calling millions of buried war machines from their graves. When the time comes, Aloy must stand against the shadow, but she will not fight alone. Go to the Palace of the Sun. Okay, let's just see what other missions... Oh, we still have the Ancient Armory. And we have Open Irons, a curious proposal. Hunting for the Lodge. Some open activities. Are the hunting grounds, okay. And tutorials. So there's an ancient relic. And 3 hunting grounds. Or trials. Okay, so I guess we'll just continue with the looming shadow a little bit then. What was it that I wanted to look at? Skills. We have 3 skill points. So let's see which. We have concentration plus, that's 3 points. And fast reload, yeah, we want that. Because I think balanced aim and hunter reflexes, yeah, concentration plus is better. Because we can use that just when standing still, basically, whereas the this one requires us to jump, and then, you know, like, it only lasts as long as the jump, so that's not really that useful because we're moving, so it's much easier to aim just in slow-mo. So, yay. Longer concentration. And the fast reload will then probably be the next thing to do. Level 41 reached. I should probably find max health plus 10. Nice.
I have to tell Avad that the Eclipse are ready to strike. After what happened with Dervahl, I know he'll defend the city. But the Spire...
Okay. So I hope we're not sliding into endgame. I would like to do a few more things, and I would really like to have the armor. But I guess I'd have to explore some more ruins to get the armor. Okay, so let's see. We can probably... no, wrong button. This one. Okay. What is this? A vista? Okay. So now I have to remember where the city was. Oh, here. So let's see if it lets us get in there. If not, then we know. Okay, we can quick travel. Okay. So like that's a good indicator in many games is if it doesn't let you quick travel to some location, that means they've, you know, they're only leading you in the direction of that location, and then something important is going to happen before you reach it. Like we had with when the Nora's home place was attacked. Oh, and we told our people to go to Meridian. So we will probably have some more people to meet there. That will be interesting. I don't know how it is about you. I mean, I guess you're watching the stream, so it can't be totally boring. But I'm really excited by this game because it's, you know, like you look at it and they've built this world and they've built this mystery for you to explore. And now we know that it wasn't just trivial, but like you see, because Ted just deleted Apollo, like the whole spawning and the whole birthing in the cradles kind of went wrong, the education, because they got like a basic education and then the systems just went, well, Apollo is broken, let's just wait, and at some point they went, okay, I guess we'll have to just send them out. Okay, let's do a manual save here because we've achieved a lot.
Wasn't sure about the Sundom at first.
Okay, let's see. Somewhere over there is where we should be. Kind of wondering if I can find anything. I guess let's take a quick trip through. Can I walk through the city here? No, I think you can only walk around, right? This in the middle is, yeah, the closed off section. I wonder what this is supposed to be, like this empty dome, if it's like a temple. I mean, we had one of those gates behind which was it Derval? Like one enemy that we caught.
MS mainspring. Articles.
So I'm kind of wondering what these buildings are meant to be. Oh, and do we have any... Let's see, under special items... Notebook, collectibles, here is where I was looking. Oh, so we have a set 3 here? That we can probably sell to someone. And that's it. Or is that the set we already sold?
Yes. I
Who's this
remember
guy?
you. Did you find the vessels I seek?
Let's see if we have...
Yes. Trade quickly. I have work to do.
It might be that the map is just showing us... No, okay. Oh no. No, we're missing... Okay, so this is just the reward box 3 that we got for these 4, and the other ones... Okay, so the map didn't actually...
I will leave you to the hunt.
the list
Be
showed
sure
us
to
things we
delve
had
into the
already
ruins.
traded in.
Ah, you're everything I'm not. Strong, brave, active. Come, talk a spell.
You're everything I'm not. Strong, brave, active. At least he's aware of himself.
Don't look to me for help. My duty is to guard. I don't get involved in politics.
So let's just walk this way. Talk this way. Just to walk this way. Talk this way. Okay, maybe not the best song. You're enjoying it. Could also be an interesting world to have an RPG in. Yeah, I'm... Like, you know, if they made an RPG... like a computer RPG, not a tabletop one, of this world, I'd give it a try. I would be very, very worried, because, like, I think this is one of the games where I would totally say, you know, it kind of lives and dies with you know, who Aloy is and her personality, and just making you, you know, like yet another outcast or something, would probably not work.
Was the assassin really an Oseram?
Wait, did I run too far? No.
Treacherous scum.
Oh, wait, I did. Okay. Oh right, actually I wanted to go through the middle to see if I met any of my Nora friends, but I didn't see anyone yet. Anyway, oh, you meant a tabletop RPG? Yeah, I can kind of... I don't know, I don't play that many tabletop RPGs, so I think I wouldn't have anyone... I don't think I know anyone who would actually play it with me then. And I also think the world is... Like, I think it would make an amazing tabletop RPG. I just don't think it would be a good one for me, because I've played like 2 different tabletop RPGs, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it was like 10 sessions in total or something like that. So I don't have much experience playing tabletop RPGs. So you know, I'm still kind of trying to figure out like how you...
We'll beat him again. Hello, I wasn't expecting you to speak to me.
Oh, hello, I wasn't expecting you to speak to me. Yeah, so I just think it would be too complex a world for me to do good in it, to do well in it, you know, like, and to play a character in a way that I think would be good. And it's also a very different world, like in, like the Star Wars world, you know, is a very modern world, so you can, when in doubt, you can react like a normal person today would. There isn't, you know, like, you don't play a character wrong that easily. And Dungeons and Dragons, the other one I've played, is, you know, a very... Like the world, you can kind of play to cliches that are very commonly known, and so that means you're also easier. It's also easier to play a character properly in character there. You know, you're like tieflings or dwarves or something, and they have certain traits, and you can just stick to that. And they would probably do something like that for a Zero Dawn RPG as well. But like, would you know, like, be a Banuk? Let's switch back to Nora gear, right? Nora Protector. Oh wait, the sickness. I actually have the Ice Hunter here. That would have actually been a better one, I guess, but I didn't get into combat. I could wear Karja silks for today. Well, let's go back to our Nora outfit. This seems more normal. You can tell I like to play Space Barbie in spaceship games I play and stuff like that. Anyway, so in this world, I guess they would have to give me, like, you'd have to pick, are you a Banuk, are you a Nora, are you a Karja, you know, are you a healer, are you a brave, things like that. I guess the world would probably give enough, but it would be a lot of learning to do to properly play it. I'm not sure if it would be that accessible. So I'm feeling like playing it as an RPG would be a challenge for someone like me. But yeah, it's such an awesome world that it would probably work. But then again, you know, like, I was thinking, you know, if it was an MMORPG, I think that would totally work as well. You know, like, it's a world with enough people in it. It has, you know, beautiful scenery and things like that. There's enough to do. There are, like, the random machine enemies. It's just that like what stories would you tell there? And you would, like this is a story that has impact on this world. Like this is, like this is the story the world was built for, and you're trying to keep the world from ending again. And like, you do not want to top that, because then it would just go to weird extremes. So you'd have to go and basically have people play comparatively banal stories. Oh, I can see a Sun King up there. Just through the bottom of the fence, I see his weird headdress. Anyway, yeah, so, it's very, I would be worried that if they did an MMORPG of this, that it would be just a lot, now there are guards here. When we were attacked, there was nobody. There would be, like, they either would try to do more and more dramatic things, or the stories would feel banal in comparison. So I'm kind of not sure. Like, people play this game and say, yes, I want more like that, but can you really do more like that? Like, I think a second part of the single-player game might work better. It's like in Mass Effect, the first part kind of was, okay, you're going to lunch, we'll be back in half an hour. Well, in half an hour I'll probably just be ending, so have a nice lunch and see you tomorrow. Or something like that, or whenever next I stream and you have time to watch it. But thank you for being here, Bones. Anyway, yeah, so in Mass Effect they had kind of a good way of, I love this blue, they had a good way of having an enemy that is an immediate threat and kind of a world-ending threat, but then escalate it in the second and third parts. In a way that seemed, natural, and kind of like the first part was basically a warning for the later parts. So, I don't think you can really do that here, because, like, we are dealing with the system that built this world, or rebuilt it. So, once we've eliminated Hades, all that could happen is Hades going bad again, or something like that. Or, someone, taking, I don't know, control of Hades, or damaging Hades, or whatever, what we've had in some spots here already, so it would be mostly a retread of this one. So I'm kind of wondering, like, what you could do in this world. So, like, I could see them, and they've done that. There's the Frozen Wilds expansion to this game. Or DLC, or whatever the correct term is, that you could get. So yeah, I'm not sure whether, like, I think you could do more, like, additional missions that you can do in this world, maybe even after you've done the main story and completed that, just to give us some more of this world. But I'm not sure you could give us a new main story that would still feel that it has enough impact to come after this.
Aloy, what brings you to Meridian?
A threat. Helis commands a legion of fanatics called the Eclipse. They will attack soon from the west, with an army of ancient war machines. But that's not the worst of it. They'll bring a mind with them, god, demon, machine, whatever you want to call it. It's called Hades. And it doesn't want Meridian at all. It wants the Spire. And if it gets there, it will send out a call, waking more ancient machines, more than we could ever defeat. All will be lost. We can't let that happen.
I'm trying to understand, but my responsibility lies with Meridian.
Meridian isn't the target, Avad. You have to defend the Spire.
Perhaps the Vanguard, Your Radiance.
Yes. Send them to the Spire. Aaron knows Aloy. He won't question it.
And have the city guard fortify the western ridge. There they can be seen to protect Meridian and the Aloy-t, where the Spire rests.
Aloy, allow me to apologize for my behavior before. After everything that happened with Ursa, I was confused. If we're to fight together on the brink of life and death, I'd prefer to do so with your forgiveness.
Then you have it. As long as you don't confuse me with her again.
Even a king can learn his lesson. Good then. I'm glad that's behind us. Now, it will take time to prepare our defenses. Please, tell me what you know of our enemies. Everything.
I don't know about everything, but I'll tell you what I can.
Okay, so I guess we've told him everything?
Have you spoken to Blameless Murad?
Not yet, but I will.
He wishes to speak to you. Defensive preparations are his responsibility.
Okay. I don't like, I was hoping that he'd have a few more things to talk about, but I don't like when a mission just suddenly goes talk to guy X, as a mission objective, and it doesn't come out of the conversation. He didn't say, talk to Murad, he will deal with everything else. This game usually doesn't do that, so this kind of smells to me like they, maybe they had had to change something, take out a mission or something. And often they have, they can't get, to fix that one line, they didn't want to get that voice actor, back, because you pay for, an entire session in voice acting. And then you make, and that has a minimum, just for them to come in, they get a certain amount, just for the effort of having to drive over, You can't just pay someone for 5 minutes, because when they come to you for 5 minutes, they probably have to drive half an hour to get to the studio, then, do the recording, then drive half an hour back or something like that. So, of course, that has to be factored into the price. So, if you do a longer session, it's more cost efficient. And so, since he is also, a character that has fairly limited scenes, there's probably not much they could do with that voice actor. With other characters, the Blameless Marad or someone someone who can just be seen walking around the city or something, they could give them some more exposition or something, and then just say, okay, we'll record, or even better with citizens or something. If they need a citizen to do something, then they can just go and take that voice actor and say, okay, record a few random lines that we can spread across the world for the citizens to say, so it feels more alive. But with Avad, it's really just, he gives us a few missions. There's some important moments where we meet him, and it would seem both weird to have, either they would have to build another mission around him to justify justify recording additional lines, or what would they do with him? It would seem silly if they had the same voice actor voice some random characters in here, like if people recognized him, they'd go, wait, that's the king's voice, and they'd be confused and would say, you know, like, is this supposed to be the king in a disguise or something? So you would try to avoid that. And so for that, I guess what they might have done here was just take out the last line that, you know, referred to the mission they didn't manage to make in time or whatever, and then give him the mission objective, and then maybe take a line they had somewhere else where you were already supposed to Murad, supposed to talk to Murad, and give you give him that line if you address him after that. But you know, it didn't follow out of the conversation. And then they could give, you know, either they just cut out like one line that way, or they just called back in Murad and had him record a bunch of lines. And you know, because he had to do a few lines anyway, maybe for other missions that he was giving.
Panic in the city will only create another enemy. And do keep me appraised of each new arrival.
That's also nice, like, he was standing there, you know, and he was waiting for us to get close before he started talking to his people and then sending them away. That's a common trick in computer games, that moments you want the player to see you trigger when they are nearby, of course. Even if, you know, you just coincidentally happen to be near at the right moment. And it's not really super important here to see that, but you know, like, you've recorded this, so it's good, and you can see that he is doing work. It doesn't seem quite as silly. Of course, now that I'm waiting here, it seems kind of silly for him to be kind of doing talking gestures without actually anyone to talk to.
Ah, Aloy. Preparations are underway on the ridge of defenses and at the spire. Word was sent to every corner of the Sundom. Our allies offered their steel. Some came for Meridian, others for shards. But many came for you, by name.
For me.
Don't be so humble.
The ridge will be the front line. That's where the city guard are holding?
Yes, bolstered by some of the irregulars I spoke of before. The Oseram cannons that thundered Meridian's walls in the Liberation will now defend us. You're welcome to tour the defenses.
And the spire. Erend and the Vanguard are there?
Indeed. Clashing breastplates together and testing out their battle cries, I suppose. A number of the Nora have also arrived at the spire. They have resisted the offer of a royal audience. Perhaps you could parley with them.
I will. I suppose all we can do is wait for the attack.
Exactly. It's not a feeling I cherish, but our spotters at Evening Sign report there's still no movement in the west. So, if there's more you need to do elsewhere, seize this time to do it. Otherwise, I've made the apartment of Olin Delverson available to you. You can sleep there, if sleep comes.
Oh, okay, so Olin's... Yeah, we've been to Olin's apartment and investigated it, and I guess that's where we go to start the mission. I think I saw, like, I think I saw a stream of someone playing at this moment. That was, like, I saw a bunch of, like, bits and pieces of the game. And, that was kind of what made me decide I needed to play this game. Yeah. Okay, so review preparations at the ridge and review preparations at the spire are optional. Let's see, what is that? Rest before the final battle. Yeah, that's how you start the battle. So I'll review the preparations And then I should probably try to get any side missions done. Because this sounds suspiciously like a cutoff point. Okay, so let's do the optional ones before. Because, if you don't do them, of course, they clear. I made that mistake once. Where I thought like, oh, I'll do them in the order they are numbered, but actually 1 is the required, and 2 and 3 are the
main gate will hold, won't it?
Optional ones. The main gate will hold. That's interesting that they actually went here and changed some of the lines you get. That's a really nice touch in a game. That you can go.
Let's have a chat. No, a colorful discussion.
Would you like to buy something today?
Ah, you're back. Did you bring me something lovely?
Oh, he has flowers.
Ah,
but I think we don't have
over this beautiful bounty.
Yeah, okay, so he wants them in sets as well. So I'm not gonna do a completionist run, so I won't go out of my way to collect all the flowers and stuff this time around at least. Maybe if I ever do a replay, I might do one where I say, okay, I'll get all the collectibles, just,
gather bows and spears.
You know.
A moment of your time, Outlander?
I'm not usually a completionist.
Well, it cost you a shard just to look.
Oh, that was him. I already talked to you. Anyway, a detail I like in this game, and I think that's generally nice in games, is that is when they you know, do like it is here, where at certain moments, like when you've told the city get ready, you will be attacked, that some of the citizens will actually say, oh, the gates will hold, you know, like so they actually react to a change in their situation.
I'm looking for Banuk artifacts.
You'll regret not stopping.
Yeah, I think the Banuk artifacts will also.
The rumors were true. They're about to
Back
attack.
from the wilds. Find any Banuk relics?
I think we
ready?
also don't have full
Let's
sets
trade
of
then.
those, so she'll probably not. No, she won't take them yet.
Come on back if you find any Banuk goods.
We only have
Found
a few.
any Banuk relics in the wilds, Outlander?
What do you want or sell? What are dirty baskets full? This item holds no value except to the most eclectic of merchants. Can be traded for... I wonder what these are for. So I guess some items that I could buy are based on this. Okay, so let's go and tour the area, and then we can finish. Well, and then we'll finish the stream, I guess. And I'm thinking I might try to recover off stream, or with a, at least with a, you know, probably with a stream without microphone or something at best. I might try tonight. Wait, is there? No, there's. Here's the button. Okay. Is this the way I'm supposed to go? Yeah, I think that's the elevators. Okay, come on. Do we get an elevator? I pulled the lever. Yeah, and then I'll try to recover the ancient power cells and get my armor. Because I've done all the missions, I think that where those can be found. I just apparently missed finding the power cells. And it kind of sounds like an upcoming big battle. Would be a good opportunity to have that armor. Doors on both sides, and they just opened both, but there's a wall on one side here. Okay.
Check out these wares. I have for sale. I promise.
Okay, so let's see what number 2 over there
My
is.
family might still be alive. And you're going to stand here and do nothing?
We've lost a dozen patrols beyond the valley.
The Oseram Guard will be blaming their shadows.
Tell me what happened to your family. Maybe I can help.
You're that Nora who saved the Sun King. You'd help my family? Oh, but it may be too late. By the sun, I fear they are all dead by now. I barely escaped alive. Machines. Vicious machines attacked my family's estate. Father sent me to get help.
What kind of machines? Where did they come from?
A Ravager. By the sun, how it cut down those guards, and a pack of watchers came with it. The Sun King warned us that he could no longer protect freeholds beyond the valley, but Father never saw this coming.
Tell me more about the estate.
My father owns a dozen quarries, and he's put his spoils into the estate. Fine tapestries, custom woodwork, silver fixtures.
But what about the people there?
Of course. Their lives are all that matter. My father and sister, plus a dozen guards and servants. I hope they survived.
I'll see what I can do about the estate.
You will? Oh, thank you. Oh, please, be careful. Those machines are deadly.
That seems weird. Yeah, the title Fatal Inheritance. It kind of sounds a little weird. I don't think I was here before. Don't think I walked down here. It's nice. These little bridges and the canals. Anyway, yeah, the way he spoke about all the finery his father had, and not about the people, and then corrected himself to of course, the people are all that matter.
That armor, was it?
I first thought that was just, you know, like
That a little...
a Karja
Nothing.
affectation, you know?
Forget I said anything.
Like the
You look
Karja are
very
kind of rich people,
dignified.
and I think we've heard a couple of people
shiny.
kind of speak
Very
more
shiny.
like that. But since the title of the mission is actually Fatal Inheritance, it kind of sounds like this might be a detective mission, where we find, you know, out that he just faked it or something.
The Shadow Karja.
No space.
We've got Blaze, that's good.
Aloy, I told you I'd be here.
You did, Teb. But have your wounds even had time to heal?
Honestly, if I fought, I'd probably come undone. But don't worry, I'll leave that to the other Nora at the Spire. I brought supplies instead. These Karja have made me an honorary quartermaster, whatever that means.
It sounds impressive.
I could get used to it. We'll be setting up caches of arms and medicine under these banners. Look for them when the fighting starts. Aloy, when you went into the mountain, did the goddess tell you our chances?
She didn't need to. I know we can do this, Teb.
Maybe we can.
We all have our place in the order of things.
Okay, so these banners. Oh.
Lucky that the North.
Geez, people, your physics are a little You didn't have to impale the banner. Okay, so that means I'll look out for those stations to refill
How
if
many
I'm...
men do you think you'll kill in the battle, Aloy-t?
As many as I have to.
I love it when you say things like that. It's so...
What?
cheerful.
The only justice
Oh, that's Vanasha and Uthid. Okay.
Little Huntress, you called, so here I am.
Ready to fight?
Fight? I thought you just wanted tea and conversation. Is there a battle coming? I wasn't informed.
Well, that can't be true. You're always informed.
Ah, so I am. We've only met a few times, and yet you know me so well.
I don't think I know you at all. But I'd like to.
When I hear that line, it usually means something else. Can I tell you a secret?
Of course.
I've been waiting for this fight my whole life. The enemy we face today is the same that turned Meridian into a slave pit and Sunfall into a bloodbath. Fanatics who torture and murder mothers, fathers, families, children, and say it's the will of the sun. I hate them, Aloy. I've got the scars of their whips on my back to prove it. And today, we can get rid of them once and for all. I said I came for you, but that was only half the truth. I came for them. This time, they're not getting away.
I'm with you, Vanasha. We'll fight them together.
And I won't forget it, little Huntress. Tomorrow, may the sun rise in a better world.
Aloy?
At ease, Uthid. Meridian will be glad to have you on its side. And I am too.
The honor is mine. You saved my epitaph from being a fine soldier, but a fool of a man.
I'm hoping you won't need any kind of epitaph just yet.
As the sun wills. When you found me, I was trying to eke out a glorious death. But now, a glorious life seems more preferable. To watch Edelman play in the low gardens again. Still surrounded by a dozen guards, but... what you did, Aloy, it was done well. Although, I can't shake this road, Vanasha. She delights in goading me. Like brazen colors waved before a behemoth.
Do you want me to ask her to stop?
No. I accept it. Well then. Meridian shall stand and shadow shall fall. I swear it.
Here's to that, Uthid.
Okay, this is like, so these are like the results of one of the side quests we did, basically. Probably like all the people around here, like him. Like, I'm not sure, like, if we'd been an asshole to him or something, then maybe he wouldn't be here.
Don't let your guard down.
Let's see, is that someone we know?
Elita, I'm pleased to see you, but what are you doing here?
I'm helping prepare for the battle. If Atral were here, we would have fought together. I know it. So I'm doing everything I can. Digging battlements, collecting herbs. Anything that makes a difference. I can't take his place. Nothing can take his place. But I'm here for him. For both of us.
I understand what it was he saw in you.
He'll always be with me. Sun and shadow still meet for a moment. Every dawn and dusk. I should give you this. To help in the battle. By the sun, I hope you don't need it.
Thank you, Elita. Be safe.
Watch out for the Oseram merchants. They'll see.
Yeah, so she is the girl
That's a nice
that was meeting with her Shadow Karja boyfriend,
I like the way
who
you
was
put
then
it.
killed.
Enough.
Like he was a childhood friend, and he was with the Shadow Karja, and she was a regular
Shadows are getting long.
Karja, and so they were secretly meeting, and like having a little garden and you know, a little house together. And he was kind of thinking of leaving the Shadow Karja because he realized how bad they were. And we managed to rescue her, but not him. So these are all people that we've talked to and dealt with, I guess.
Huh. So you must be Aloy then. I thought there'd be more of you.
More of me.
Thicker, I suppose. More of a gear wheel, less of a ringlet. Don't get me wrong, you're very well struck.
Do all Oseram flirt at the most inopportune times?
Inopportune? Battle hasn't even started yet. Petra Forge woman. I hail from the Free Heap. I'll be heading back in the next dust storm. Murad asked me to check over the city arsenal first. Cannons have aged well, but I've cleared their throats so they can really roar.
Can I try one?
Everybody wants a turn. Have at it then.
Okay. So they have... Okay, that's an... Oops. Okay, you can't take it out of
Should
here,
give me
I
the
guess.
upper hand.
Is that ammo? Oh, okay. Okay, so you charge it and oops. Okay, that works, I guess. Oh, okay, so you stand near the pile. And the longer you hold, the more shots it fires. Okay. That's interesting. They have a very steep drop-off. These, like, it's a common thing, kind of, these heavy weapons mechanics in many games, like SWTOR has that as well, Star Wars The Old Republic, where you, let's do a quick save, and I think this is one of the statues that we can, yeah. If you get all of the all of those dummies, you actually get an achievement. Oh, the spear's a lot stronger than the one we used to have. Okay, okay. That's where the Striders were before I chased them away. So let's see, where is the other spot? Over there. So I guess we're going to the spire. Oh, there's another one.
I'm ready. Gotta be.
Okay.
No, I'm away.
So I think that's about what we had here is about what you can expect in consequences from things you do. That you get some of the people standing there and saying, hey, I'll be helping you. And others that you maybe didn't help, not showing up, I guess, so you wouldn't even know. It's kind of nice to tie stuff together, you know, like it feels like whatever playthrough you did, it had some consequences. I wonder if... Oh. Horizon just crashed, it seems. Good thing I saved. Update the application, update the system software. I think it should have done that automatically. Report problem. Accept and report. Okay, so let's try to get back in there then. It's in the last minute, of course. I just wanted to run to the last spot, and to the spire, and then we'll finish the stream as promised. Let me just turn off the alarm because that'll trigger in a second. And while this is booting anyway. And apparently I didn't put my phone in the charger properly. But now it's charging. Okay. Continue. Let's see where it takes us. I think if it takes us at the last save, we're good. Shadow Warbow's corruption arrows to turn machines hostile to any other machine. I should probably try to get the Shadow Karja bow after all. I think I think it needed some. They wanted some. The traders needed some material for it that I didn't have at the time. So I should probably look into that, because having a few crazed machines sounds like it would be very, very helpful. Capture a mount or fast travel to settlements or campfires. This will speed up travel over long distances. No shit, Sherlock. Okay, I'm being a little snarky here. I actually like these tips. Okay, special merchants have a star. I'll have to watch out for that. I just looked for the antlers and rare machine parts. Yeah, okay. I didn't even notice that they had the extra star. So yeah, I like these tips actually just because not because they tell you anything you might not have heard, but because sometimes you forget that a game has certain mechanics. Thank goodness I saved here. So I only have to hit that thing again. Okay, and oh, and I didn't hit that one either. Come on. So yeah, but because if you play with gaps in between, you know, like most adults these days, you don't really have time to, you know, like play every day or something so it'll stay in your memory, or you might have, you know, time for a while and then it gets busy in life, and then you going away from that game for like 6 weeks or something, and when you come back, you don't remember, like, did this game have this feature, or how do I trigger it, or something. And these messages, by showing you what,
in his place.
Let's hope we don't crash again. Yeah, by showing you that these features are in the game, those messages kind of make you, you know, go look for it again. And then you don't miss like an important mechanic because you just forget that it existed in this game. Like, especially if you've played a few games, you know, you don't really remember all the features. Like, you remember this feature, you know, roughly helps for that or something, but you don't remember which game they might belong to. And if you've played a few similar games, then you might think, okay, in this game I don't offhand see, like if your menu is set like this, you know, you go like, oh, in this game I don't offhand see how to call a mount, and then you later go, well, you can call a mount, and then how do I do that? Oh, well, there are these arrows. Oh yeah, there was the call mount button. Things like that, you know, you just sometimes, you know, then you just forget that a mount is actually a thing in this game. And you think, oh, it was just, you know, I saw them in cutscenes. So this is where the spire is, that hill, I guess. Oh, no, that's the spire. Oh no, that's just a monolith or something. Okay, so come on, quick. I need to finish the stream, Aloy. But I want you to, at the least, go and talk to all these people. And we're hopefully ready. So it'll be interesting to see how those heavy cannons will enter into the battle, like how this battle will be. Like, will it just be one big brawl, you know, with like waves of enemies coming at us? Or will it be, you know, like a battle in a front spot, then us falling back, battle in the next spot, and so we'll eventually end up near the city gates where those cannons are, and we'll just be in that spot and go, okay, I'll stand next to one of those cannons and use it. Or whether we'll, you know, see other people on the field and using those cannons, and we can, you know, take the cannon off the body or something. And I mean, the question is, do the Shadow Karja have these weapons as well? Oh, okay, so there are several people here. So let's see, who can we talk to? Someone is up there, I guess.
So who are these guys?
They call themselves the Eclipse.
What does that even mean?
It's when the moon gets in front of the sun, idiot.
Is that supposed to sound scary or something?
I don't know. They used to be Karja. Karja are always yammering about sun and shade.
Well, if they used to be Karja, how tough can they be?
Yeah, they're best guys dressed like birds. We'll rip their little feathers off.
Let's not get cocky, boys.
I like that about the Oseram. They're best guys dressed like birds who will rip their little feathers off.
Aloy. So here we are again, gearing up for a fight. Only this time it sounds like the bad guys have a lot more firepower. What are we up against, really?
I'm not sure. But there's gonna be a lot of them, and they'll have machines. And if they get past us, it's not just Meridian that will fall. The rest of the world will go with it.
That's big. It sounds like our kind of fight. Right, guys? Well, where do they put the Vanguard?
At the front of the line!
And why?
Steel before iron!
And what are we gonna do?
Hit them like a hammer till they can't hit back!
Damn right! You hear that? Nobody's getting past the Vanguard. We're here for Meridian. And we're here for you.
Thank you, Erend. Ursa would be proud.
Well, only if we win.
Only if we win. That's a bit of a depressive point of view, but yeah, I mean, she would at least be more proud.
I hope we fight soon.
If they win.
Now it's getting itchy.
These are helpful. Bitter, though.
Okay, so these locations look like, oops, the intent is that we'll go there and have the battles nearby.
Check your gear twice. Then once more for luck.
So this will be interesting. Ah! Nora!
Greetings, Aloy. Don't. You don't need to bow. The Anointed doesn't like it.
She doesn't much like being called anointed either. It means a lot to have you here, Varl.
I gave my word.
So, Meridian, what do you think?
I've seen many new things since I first met you. I should thank you.
Varl, what's wrong?
You really want to know? All right. I'm in a foreign land, a tainted land, defending a faithless city that looks like nothing I've seen. From something I can't imagine. And you, after all that's happened, all you've done, I feel like I should drop to my knees and worship you, but I know you don't want that.
Boy, things are pretty tough for you, huh? Thanks for telling the other Nora not to bow. It's the last thing I need.
Don't be too hard on them. They only joined this fight because the Anointed bid it so.
Is that why you came?
No. I would have come just to see you one more time. And we must fight a metal devil, because the goddess says. Or because you say.
I think the goddess and I are in agreement. We're both glad you're here.
So am I.
Can you talk to the other people as well? No.
What do they want with that Spire thing, anyway?
Just one hotspot. Mean. We don't have voices. Oh, damaged file repaired. Oh, we've repaired a whole bunch of files. Text data points. Just wrapped inspection of Gaia Prime site. Construction is well underway. Reactor installed. Plans for control room remind me of Starship bridges on those cheesy old sci-fi wits. Living spaces for alphas already completed. Prefab modules. Fingers crossed we never have to seal ourselves in here. Not that Elysium sounds much better. Spent last week at the Bryce site designing ZD Project Labs, Zero Dawn Project Labs, drawing up protocols. The base we're repurposing was huge, plenty of room for workspaces and residence blocks. The work crews already set up my office lab. I'm not a fan of the glass wall. Guess Murray's intention was to ensconce me as all-seeing presence. Ugh. Opposite effect, makes me feel watched on display, tempted to paint it over. Harris recorded his presentation yesterday, suitably bleak, scheduled to record mine Friday. As soon as reception, lounge, holo theaters, and first residence block at Zero Dawn site are finished, we'll start processing the candidates being held outside Tucson 27 already. Tucson 27 already. Extraction teams prioritizing Pacific Rim and Aussie candidates. How scared and confused they must be, snatched off the street, carted across the world, held in cells. Here's hoping they understand once they see the big picture. Going to catch a few hours sleep here, then fly back to the Zero Dawn site. Harris promised delivery of QB lettuces by noon. Expect Mark 1 will take 2 weeks to machine, assemble, and test. I aim to launch Gaia at 0.6 T grounding. From there I'll spin her up past 1.0 T. Wonder how long it'll take to break the 138 T record. MIE can go hang. Sleep. Okay, I have no idea what that means. I guess maybe it's like some AI specification or something. Usually I've at least heard the nerdy stuff. Last time I visited Prime was November of last year. Months since have been a blur. Flew out last night to oversee installation of the central armature and the master override. You're welcome, Ted. Which was completed by 4:30. So I decided to grab a few hours of sleep here before heading back to Zero Dawn. Called Gaia before I bedded down, ostensibly to update her on the site plan, but the truth is I missed her. I've developed a habit of speaking to her before I sleep. Seems to be the only thing that calms me these days. Woke to a message from Oswald. The Odyssey launched yesterday, so terrestrial life's chance of survival has doubled. Why then do I feel so uneasy? I just keep wondering what kind of world far Zenith will create if the ship reaches its destination so many decades from now. And I worry about that alpha build of Apollo. So much knowledge, so few restraints, and no fail-safes. How will they avoid repeating our mistakes? What's to stop them from playing God? So wait, Far Zenith, so the space project. They did a space project. I guess it contained terraforming as well, or I don't know. But so they sent the spaceship out, and we already know that it failed. I don't remember if it exploded or whatever, but it had an alpha build of Apollo. So the question is, maybe we can find that somewhere? Like, maybe it crashed back to Earth? Or maybe it, you know, because Ted deleted all the copies of our Apollo. But we might have that early build somewhere. Of course, recovering it from space doesn't sound like it would be within the abilities of mankind at this point. Forwarded the Odyssey message to the Alphas. Naoto replied in less than a minute, with a poem, of course. The Building of the Ship by Longfellow, and it's long, all right. I didn't read all of it, but it seems to be about launching a ship rather than building one. This stanza or couplet or whatever leapt out at me. Humanity, with all its fears, with all its hopes of future years, is hanging breathless on thy fate. Yeah, Odyssey and Zero Dawn both. Speaking of which, I should get back to Zero Dawn. Guess I should sleep by Naoto's lab. Should stop by Naoto's lab and check on Demeter's progress too. If I can get out of there without a volume of Tennyson pressed into my hands, I count myself lucky. Till next time. Travis came by, trick-or-treating, dressed up like me. Should have seen that coming. I gave him a half-eaten packet of dandy wafers as a treat and kicked him out, but not before he invited me to some kind of Italian horror extravaganza he organized for Zero Dawn staff. Seriously, as though there isn't enough horror in the world already. Anyway, I was already scheduled to fly out here to Gaia Prime for final inspections with Harris and the President's delegation. Ted was here too, and he was not looking good, kept fidgeting and couldn't seem to look me in the face without blinking. I was relieved when he boarded his vert and flew back to Thebes. Gag. Though I guess I shouldn't complain. If he wants to build himself a deluxe shelter to ride out the apocalypse, let him. Keeps him out of Elysium and away from me. Okay, so I wonder... Was Ted... So I guess Ted wasn't in Horizon where we found the recording. That's why he was on a hologram. He was probably in his own Thebes shelter. Which means there is a small one-person shelter somewhere. So maybe Sobek survived? I guess I'm somehow fixating on, I want to save everyone. It would not make for a better story, I think, if she survived. Like how long could she survive? She would have to be frozen or something for us to still meet her. Harris stuck around long enough to give me a detailed briefing on the strategic situation. Basically, we've entered the terminal phase, as though the color of the sky when I was flying over here wasn't clue enough. Another 2 or 3 weeks and the atmosphere won't be breathable. The vast vestiges of European and West African civ brigades are trapped with their backs against the Atlantic. The swarm that scuttled across Antarctica is crossing the Straits of Magellan, about to start its death crawl up South America towards the Amazon. All the work we did to reconstitute the rainforest, and it comes to this. And advanced elements of the Pacific swarms are already skirmishing with units on the Kalmar seawall. The noose is tightening. Projections show we can still finish in time, but the margin of error is ± 10 days. Not a good spread. If the plague breaks through ahead of schedule, well, it just can't. I will not let that happen. Enough writing. I need to get back to Zero Dawn. Such a close thing. It's been, 43 hours since Harris warned me? Said collapse of the eastern line was imminent, swarms launching some kind of pincer maneuver versus the Wichita salient. 5 or 6 days more, and I think Gaia could have launched without our help. I really do. We had to scramble. Zero Dawn became a madhouse, absolute bedlam. Every team rushing to stabilize code and lock it down as Gammas got evacuated, then Betas. Once Gaia was on her way, I gathered the Alphas together to give them the bad news. Felt like I was going to throw up, but they already knew, of course. They knew the work wasn't really finished. Close, but not quite there. Still tests to run, kinks to smooth, work to do. So they accepted it. No Elysium for us. We'll spend the rest of our lives here, testing and polishing each subordinate function to perfection. Guess that's what you get when you recruit a bunch of obsessive perfectionists. Managed not to cry until I got back to my office. So here we are, setting up Gaia Prime, and yeah, such a close thing. Makes me feel nauseated all over again when I contemplate how the fate of life could hinge on coincidence. If I'd never proposed the Lightkeeper protocol, there never would have been living spaces constructed here. If I'd abandoned the protocol sooner, the necessary life support systems never would have been installed. If. At least we won't have to endure the creepiness of raising and training clones of ourselves. The genetic material was never processed out of the cradle sites, so it's not even possible. For which I'm glad. I really wouldn't want to spend time around a young Travis Tate raised by Travis Tate. No, it'll be up to us to perfect Gaia, one generation only. Update, that was General Harris. The salient has collapsed. USRC expects to be overrun in 2 days, which gives us 72 hours at best to lock down and seal up. Buried alive for life's sake. I'll go tell the others. Okay, so now we know more about Lightkeeper. So they had the clone material, which is still in the cradles. And the idea was to have them raise new clones. And I guess the clones raise new clones. So they could teach them and have them keep the installation going. Okay. That was an aspect that wasn't obvious from the previous one. So let's see, are those all the Sobek journals that we have? Yeah, that's Derval's journal. Okay. Okay, so let's quickly talk to the rest. I'm really running over here, but...
It rises taller than the highest tree.
These Carja in their frilled armor look like turkeys.
But there are so many. And now we are so few.
They are not our foe. Not this time.
Quiet now. She comes.
War Chief Sona. War Chief, you seem uncomfortable.
The Nora do not belong here. I do not belong here. I will fight the metal devil that threatens us all, but my place is in the sacred land. The wrongness here jags at me like an arrowhead.
I'm sorry to put you through this.
Do not be sorry. This will be ended. My spear, my word.
Okay. So I guess we talked to everyone. And now we could rest before the final battle, or what I'm planning to do next is getting ready for the ancient armory. So thank you for watching, and I guess no, not be right back, but rather stream ending. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I think I'll let the auto host take care of picking whoever's stream it'll show here next. I invite you to go and go to that stream and enjoy what they will be, what games they are playing. There's a bunch of really fun people streaming usually after this time, so you'll see what comes up. And yeah, see you. Bye bye.